So Bitcoin's still trading at around about 67K. They're not just sending it lower just yet. They're holding it up for us at the moment, and the market's been relatively choppy. But what we do know is that we've seen Celestia really pumping on this new modular narrative. Is this going to be a thing? Well, I've got a couple of tokens lined up for you guys, which I think might be able to move on the next Celestia push. Then I've got an update on AI tokens for you based on this NVIDIA strength. And we're covering a whole lot of other tokens. I want some of yours as well. So we've got a lot to talk about today, guys. Let's get right into it. And don't forget, if you are enjoying the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell, and keep Uncle Ray happy there in the back. He's going to be very happy that I raised this one so early. So, Banter Bubbles, what is this showing us today? Again, these meme coins are still doing their thing. Look at SHIB, 5%, WIF, 6%. Doge is even showing some signs. But what we have noticed here is a little move out of Injective, which we've seen before, has tailed some Celestia in the past a little bit. So, is that something we need to be watching today? So we're going to take a look at quite a lot of these tokens that you are seeing at the moment on Banter Bubbles. But right now, what has Bitcoin done? It's just pinged a 786 fib. Now, I mean, is this the moment now where they pop us a little bit higher? Maybe we get some late afternoon action for us here from where we are in our time zone. Maybe some morning action for those of you in the States. So just in case, I've opened up a small BTC long here on the 786 ping. And you can see I'm sitting there right now. These are my current trades here on Prime XPT. That TON is still running. Link is a little scalper vibe going on with Link at the moment. And AVAX, well, pretty boring at the moment. So not much happening with AVAX at the moment. But what am I watching now at the moment? So big level for us here. This is a 786. It's tied in with some horizontals and looking interesting here for a potential bounce. So 67,200, nice little area for you guys to be paying attention to. And then let's not forget, it would make perfect sense here to finally have a little flush out here and send us down to 66K. The reason I like this little area is I've got a liquidation heat map here, and this is from all the exchanges, and you can see what's going on. We've got a nice little cluster a little bit lower down, and they're pushing us down to even 65K if you want to get a little bit greedy there, and a little bit higher up. If we just follow Binance's liquidation heat map, we can see anything down to 66K would take out a nice little cluster for us, and that would tie in really nicely with a little move into trend and 382. So watching this one closely now for any downside. And when do we turn bullish? Well, it's the same old system. You can see we're in a sharp downtrend now on BTC on the 2 hour. How do I turn bullish? Well, we really need to start pushing. We really need to start breaking some trends, and then we can start getting a little bit more excited on the current situation. But if you just look at this BTC chart on the 2 hour, it's been absolute chop city. It's been quite difficult trading conditions for anyone trying to scalp anything decent here. And we've seen these altcoins have also been chopping around. So Zara says, who the fuck is selling Bitcoin? Well, Grayscale, I believe, sold a little bit more Bitcoin. So we're going to take a look at some of that now. Let's just jump into some of the news. And I don't know who Bernstein is, but $725 billion asset manager Bernstein predicts Bitcoin will go hit 90K in 2024 and 150K in 2025. So there you go. Old Bernstein has called 90K. Let's see. You know, they're getting a little bit bullish. I saw lower down. We got Ched's Trading calling 250K in 2026. So these guys are definitely putting their stakes in the ground. They're obviously trying to attract some of their clients, get their clients to do some investment there. And they're obviously calling these big numbers. Nice little PR campaign for them as well. And interesting to note, these memes are not going anywhere. I remind you once again, Uncle Ray, who's now, where is this man in the world now? Now he's sitting in the car again. Are you trading memes yet, bro?
No, not yet. Not yet. No memes from Chicago. No memes.
No memes for Ray. He's still traveling the world. Okay, so what is going on here? Top 15 projects by 30-day revenue. Number one is Pump.Fun at the top of the show. Okay, at the top shows that we are in a meme coin super cycle. Pump.Fun is basically where you can create and launch your own meme token relatively easily and relatively cheaply. So have a look at Pump.Fun if you want to launch your own meme tokens. Get stuck in, and you can see how it's leading the charge here. $13.6 million versus Uniswap, which we know is it's a major DEX on ETH, and that is second at $11 million. And you can go down the list and see what is going on here. Lido is sitting at fourth. MetaMask sitting at fifth at the moment as well. So Definitely still meme season. Andrew Kang, big trader on Twitter, he says meme coins pumping are no longer indicators of local tops. Remember, we used to always say when Doge starts pumping, that's the sign of the top of the market, that we're going to get some kind of reversal. Now he's basically saying memes have and they will lead the market. Adapt or die. Ray, that's for you. You need to start trading some of these meme coins here. And for those of you that are aware or not, there is MemeCon happening right now in Portugal. So you might have noticed some of your favorite meme coins have potentially been pumping, but there's a lot of action. Some of the banter guys are there. Sheldon is there at the moment. Fef is there. And a lot of the team have gone to check it out. There's some crazy shit going down. And I mean, look at these guys. I mean, this is proper. This is so crypto, isn't it? It's proper meme stuff happening there. So take a look. MemeCon, you can go watch the video. I'm sure you'll see some of the banter guys there. They were doing some speaking as well. And how's the shirt? MemeCon. This is MemeCon party vibe. He says, I don't need a girlfriend. Crypto fucks me every day. Ray, you gotta love that. And does the legend do that?
That's funny. That's so funny.
Love that shit. So MemeCon looking good at the moment. Lots of action there. We're going to cover a couple of meme tokens for you as well. And Thomas Farah, he says GBTC sells 1,550 Bitcoin. They sold $105 million. Okay, so that answers your question there, Zara, in the chats. He says this takes total outflow since launch to over 330k BTC. So these guys are still offloading. You might have noticed, that selling in the current chop that we've been having in the last while. Then just another blow to the SEC, and a $1.8 million in damages for abusing its power against crypto company 𝗃𝗏𝗏. Okay, another loss for Gary Gensler, another win for crypto bros, and all these things. So that is looking relatively bullish on that front as well. And then just a reminder, I've shown you this chart before, and Mr. Crypto actually called this for us a couple of weeks ago when I pulled this chart out, and he showed us every time we printed a flag with the green. You can see these green, the green channels on these flags. These were descending flags. Every time we printed that, we got a massively bullish move out of BTC. Is this time different? We'll have to wait and see. But so far, things are looking good at the moment. Okay, and we'll keep track of BTC here, looking for a small bounce at the 786. So while we're continuing, let's watch. If we do drift lower, we're watching 66k. Don't forget about that. That could be a nice little scalp long as well on the table for you guys. So we'll pay attention as we go. And then bigger picture, doesn't this make perfect sense for you guys? Looking at Bitcoin on the bigger picture, always nice. Sometimes when things are choppy like this, always nice to zoom out, get a proper look as to what is really going on in the bigger picture. And sometimes we get lost in our trades and the scalping and all these things. And when you zoom out, you look at a chart like this and you say, well, hang on. This is actually perfectly acceptable here. If Bitcoin wants to dip down to 66k, to 65k, if this was a 15-minute scalper chart, you'd be saying, wow, this is an entry zone here to go long. Let's look for this thing dipping into that area. So bigger picture, things are still good. Bull vibes are fully intact here with BTC. When do we get bearish? When we start closing under the 50-day MA, when we start closing under trend, then we can start getting a little bit bearish there. And higher up, anything above this trend, we are going to be good as far as I'm concerned. So 66k to 65k, that is our area that we're going to keep on watching. And a reminder for the altcoin traders, I think we need to look at this one every day just to make sure you guys know and we follow the plan. This plan has worked multiple times before from Rec Capital. And it worked again in March. We had serious pumpage on some of those altcoins. And here we are again, sitting in May, leading into June. We are at the bottom of the altcoin cycle. He's still telling us, careful now, don't fuck this one up, because it looks like we are about to tee up for some kind of move here on some of these altcoins. So just hang in there, trust the process, and, just play hot levels. Don't get chopped up in too much leverage, guys. Please, not allowed. Okay, Ethereum looking okay here on the 12-hour. Nice to see a little bit of weakness after all that pumpage that we've had. This now makes perfect sense that we are getting some kind of turnover here on ETH. So let this thing start playing out a little bit. And remember, these are going to be gifts for you for good entries here. 3.7, 3.5. I'm looking at 3.2 as well. If they really want to send us, to Goblin Town, we're looking at this 3.2 level. So these are all potential buy zone areas. These are are nice spot bag zones where you can really tee some ETH up for a nice bull run for later, that you can really just enjoy that trade. So look out, 37, 35, 32, still loving those areas. No changes there as far as that is concerned. And then Link is, I just brought this one up. This was the one I set these limit orders on yesterday on CoinCatch, our new exchange. And, you know, we still haven't had that pullback. So I am in a scalp long now on Prime XBT using Link, but we're still looking for some kind of bullish pullback here. And the real bullish, higher conviction entries have to be a little bit lower down, and we want to look for these 382 pullbacks and these type of things on Link. So just let it settle, and at any point in time we should get our pullback and we should get our entry. You can see what happened last time here. Similar vibe, looked like we were going to just send it to the moon. What did they do? They came back and retested. So at some point we're going to get a nice bullish pullback on Link. We don't know when it is, okay, but we're going to get that pullback on Link. It's going to give us that nice little 382 entry, maybe a 618 entry, and then we are going to really start cooking there. So, and yesterday I mentioned CoinCash, there's literally a limited offer here. You're not going to find this anywhere in the industry. Okay, you've got to click on the link, the specific CoinCash link, this new exchange that we are using, Crypto Banter and Dylan special, 25% cash back in the deposit. Okay, you got 4 days, 3 hours left to take advantage of this, and grab it in the link in the description. Here it is. Let's make sure we know exactly where they are. CoinCatch at the top of the list there. So jump in. You can follow them on Twitter as well and see what's going on. Take advantage of this, guys. You're not going to get these types of offers too often. So that is the current CoinCatch situation. Then I wanted to deal with some of these AI tokens. We haven't spoken about them in a while. And, you know, we've been dealing with a lot of other things currently. So we're going to get to Celestia and friends shortly. So stick around. And don't forget, I also have the legend hiding in the back here. I pulled him out of Sniper Club. He's got 2 setups, I believe. There he is, and one of them is potentially an AI setup for us. So let's see. Zumba says, yes, Uncle Dill, we trust the beard, so we won't fuck this up. Right, correct. Back the beard, guys, back the beard. And we're working on the legend growing his beard. We know Ray already has his beard, and it's coming. So, okay, back to these AI tokens. Here's the story. This is NVIDIA on the weekly. Okay, so what has happened? We had some of these AI tokens pumping into NVIDIA earnings. Now there's been a sell-off. Now that narrative has gone quiet again. Remember, for 3 weeks, it was the most obvious trade. It was an AI trade into NVIDIA earnings. Now, what are we seeing? We're seeing NVIDIA hold the strength. NVIDIA is still pushing. NVIDIA is still cooking. And what does this tell us? It tells us that potentially these AI tokens are just recharging at the moment, and we might be getting another move. Now, when are we going to get that move? It's difficult to say. But as long as NVIDIA is churning up, I would suspect the next possible or the next probable flow here out of some of these crypto tokens has to be some of these AI plays. So watching Render closely. And we know Render is a lovely play on NVIDIA strength and things like that. So let Render do its thing. Let it settle down. Let it consolidate and all these things. What you need to do and what you need to be watching for is Render on key levels and Render at accumulation zones here. Because remember, when these things start their next round, you don't want to miss the narrative. You don't want to let that narrative front run you and then start playing catch up. So number one that I'm watching here for Render, and there's no changes. We've seen good bounces off the support. So we can't argue that this is not amazing support at the moment. So 9.9 for Render. Every time a scalper has clipped these lows, dips into these regions, you've been rewarded with a slight little move here. Obviously, it's not great. We want something a little bit bigger and a little bit lower down for us. We want to watch 9.35. You can see that area. You can see why I love this area. It's also a 0.5 fib, but it's tied in with the 50-day moving average. We've got to watch this level as a potential buy zone. And then the big one for us, Render on a 618. We've seen in the past, many times in the past, Render reacting so well off a 618. So remember that feeling. By the time you get to a 618 pullback, you're generally feeling quite bearish. And that often gives us a nice little push in the market. So Render, we've seen good responses from Render on a 618 fib. That's at 8.7 to 8.8. Watch that region there. So look out for something like this. We're looking for little scalps off these areas. These are the zones where you can add to your positions. These are the zones where you can start building positions if you believe that we are going to be bullish in the market. And any weakness here is for buying. Well, I certainly am. So I'm looking for entries anywhere down the line here on Render, and then look out for a little downtrend, and you can buy these dips into these supports. And then at some point we break that trend, we turn super bullish again, and then we start firing it up. So watch that for Render. I'm still loving the idea of an AI trade. And then I've got Fetch for you as well. So also moving into an interesting area, and it's right now it's floating around the 50-day moving average and the 618. This is the Fetch 12-hour chart that I'm looking at, and I'm currently tracking it on a rising trend. So things are looking interesting. If we pull some horizontals here as well, you might see that we're getting this typical sort of squeeze setup that might be brewing here on Fetch. So what am I typically looking for in a situation like this? Something along these lines. We're looking for these little pushes up, and then we eventually get this pop, and then these things start going. So right now I'm tracking Fetch on this rising trend. So what do I like? I've got rising trend support, I've got horizontals floating around in this region as well, and I've got a 786 fib a little bit lower down. So I'm watching anything down to about 2.13 for Fetch, and that would be typically just trading a bounce off this rising trend, and that is nice trend support for us. So it would look something along these lines. You want to get it as deep as possible, obviously, and your first step could be to exit once we start closing under the 786. So if this starts losing this region, for example, then you could reasonably expect that Fetch is going to want to come down and test 1.86 somewhere in that region. So right now there could be a scalp coming for you guys. Simple little setup, a fib in play, rising trend, some horizontals here, and look out for a wick down onto that region. If BTC starts really pushing lower though, and we're talking going 66, then sub 66 and taking us deeper, we might see a little bit of altcoin pain. So always make sure when you're trading your alt, you know where your next level is, tied in with Bitcoin's next level as well, and that will help your planning when you are sitting in positions. That will help you know where you can exit, where you can enter again. So always identify your next big zone. Okay, who is in the chats before we get into the Celestia story? Because Ray, I'm still not dealing with the Celestia mentally. This thing ran away from us. I see Ray's doing lots of things here in the car. Are your eyes still open yet, bro? What's going on there? He's missing his signal as well. Okay. Maybe he's sleeping in the car. CBD says injective. Yeah, I've got that one tied up for you guys. Let's see. Keegan says Keegan is here. Okay, well, Keegan's made an announcement. He's here. Let's see who else we got. Yasin says bullish divergence on GUMMY. We can check that one out as well. I've got some memes for you guys. And King Crypto says USDT killing us right now. Let's see. What else we got? Daniel says Tower is dropping hard. That's interesting. Bruce, do you want to pull out in the back there? Do you want to just check a Tower? Will you prep Tower for Daniel quickly? And let's see, we'll see what's going on there. So Bruce is on that for you guys. Michelle, happy Wednesday. Good to have Michelle in the chat here as well. Okay, let's crack on to the current Celestia thing. So you guys know that we were hating Celestia for so long. It was punishing us. It was an absolute trade based on airdrops, wasn't it? So this thing was so bullish. The market was chasing the airdrops, and the minute that dried up, Celestia started falling over, and we saw multiple pumps over the last few months while Celestia just continually fell and was just not responding of good areas. And I really appreciated this tweet from 𝗃𝗄𝗃. They said big sentiment flip on Celestia. We've gone from where are my airdrops to the future is modular in less than 10 days. Okay, so we were hating on Celestia. It was floating around doing pretty much nothing, and now we've seen a narrative change in crypto, and he's given a little sentiment chart here showing how this thing is now absolutely pumped on the new narrative. And what is going on here? What is modular? Well, you guys can read Andy. He says his at is at AYYE A&D. Okay, decipher that one. And this is Andy, and he's saying the modular thesis is really starting to come together. So have a read here. He's talking about a couple of other tokens as well. One of them is Dimension, which I've prepped for you. So take a look. I'm not going to bore you by reading this whole thing. Those of you guys that are interested in the fundamentals and things behind why there is potentially a narrative brewing here, have a read at his post. He will take you through it. And then 𝗃𝗫𝗍𝗪 says, I think the Celestia ecosystem has a similar setup to the Sol trade in 2023. Now, he's giving you a reason why he thinks this could be a banger trade setup as well, and could start trading very similarly to Sol. So I think it's time to start paying attention to Celestia. I think we've seen the start of a move. And remember, in crypto, sometimes you miss the first move. It's not a big deal. If something wants to run 10, 20%, if it's still going to maintain its bullishness and it's still going to be a bullish play, it needs to have some kind of longevity. It can't just be a pump on the news. It needs to be a new narrative that might be playing out and things like that. So we're going to find out very soon with Celestia if this new narrative is going to play out. And the reason we're going to find out is we're going to know if this thing is going to hold the 50-day moving average and this thing's going to hold the 382, we can long the shit out of this thing, and then we're going to see if it's going to play out. So number one, we've had a great pump from Celestia, and now we're getting a typical rejection into this descending trend. So you can see this trend where we've been in the house of pain for the last, when did this start for us? This started in February. They started absolutely killing us. And here we are again, now rejecting from trend and horizontal. So typical move here for Celestia or for a token, rejecting at horizontals. And now we are pushing down. Now the real test here is, where are the bulls? Are the bulls going to step in here and trust this new narrative? Are the bulls going to step in and play the modular narrative game? Well, if you are one of them and you believe in it, Ray, I'm going to have a go at this, bro. And I hope Ray is going to come back and trade Celestia with me. But we're going to get an entry here soon. So I'm looking at 10.4 down to about 10.2 for Celestia as a potential bullish retest here, where we can look for long. So number one, we're looking for something along these lines, and then we want to push this thing a little bit higher. So we're going to look for a move after this bounce into the 200-day moving average. So that is going to look something along these lines. Looking for this push down, horizontals, 382, 50-day moving average, ping, and then we're looking for that push higher into that 200-day MA. What happens after that? Well, we're going to then look for the type of rejection at the 200-day MA, and then we're going to try and get our next retest buy off that nice horizontal support. So there's the current plan. Okay, if this modular system or this modular narrative is going to play out, this is where you need to buy Celestia. So we're looking 10.4, 10.5 down to 10. That can be a buy zone. That is where you are looking for little entries here. And then if this is going to play out, that's going to be a great entry for you guys. So remember, when these things run away, you don't want to go in and start buying the top of a lot of these things. Let them play out. Let them come back to you. If the bulls are going to step in, the bulls are going to step in, and you're going to find them at a 382. You're going to find them at the 50-day retest and things like that. So number one, I see Ray's disappeared here. Legend, you like my theory? You like my
theory?
We're going to see. The bulls are going to do the work.
I get Todd ready, by the way, anytime you want.
Okay, we're going to bring it up. We're going to bring it up in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Okay, so Bruce is bringing you Tao again. Guys, if you like the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do those things. And then Bruce is bringing you a setup that we normally leave for Sniper Club. So you're getting us insight into how his brain works and how he likes to trade things. So hit the likes. When Uncle Ray is happy with the likeage, I'm going to bring him back out of his cage for you guys, and we can take a look at some of his setups there for you. Okay, so Celestia, you've got the plan. Now, what about something like DYM? Okay, this has now been spoken about as something that could also start moving with Celestia. So we've had a little move on Celestia strength, but you can see what's going on here. This is DYM on the daily, and currently we are rejecting off the 50-day moving average. But what do we know about the 50-day moving average? Well, number one, when altcoins pop the 50-day moving average, we quite often get quite a big move through it, especially when we've been trending underneath it for quite a while. So Dime, what I'm looking for here is a nice pop of this 50-day moving average. So just play this one a little bit cautiously here while it plays out a little bit. You can see we've got big resistance here in front of us for Dime. That's going to be a nice horizontal. Let me mark this for you guys quickly. We're looking at something along these lines. Okay, so you can see we've got clearly defined horizontal in front of us. What does this mean for us? Why do I highlight a big horizontal resistance zone? Because number one, once we pop through that, we as the bulls can start using that as potential support pullbacks for us to give us these entries that we are looking for. So what are you looking for here? If you're interested in a trade that's going to play along with Celestia potentially, Dime, you need to get on your watch list. Let's look for this thing to blow this 50-day moving average. Once we're popping through there, we're going to start looking for potentially bigger moves. And then this thing should move up pretty quickly and in nice little phases here for us. We've got clearly defined blocks, and just when these things are coming down to key levels, these things push back up to their key levels, and you're going to see multiple trades here for Dime. All we need to do, number one, break this 50-day MA, and then we're going to start churning higher. So your first trade potentially is going to give you roughly 20%, and the full trade could potentially take you to about 44%. So ideally, you want to wait for that pop. It's going to look something along these lines. When we get that break of that 50-day MA, you're going to look for some entries there, and you can use your 50-day MA as your support marker. You can use a loss of that 50-day MA as a potential exit zone for that potential trade. And I see Zara says, Ray is hunting gems. Ronald says, guys like to smash. I mean, smash the like, guys. Okay, Eddie says, Ray spending the profits. Ray, are you spending? Are you spending all the profits there, bro? What is going on? Where is he? He's still there. He's still there. He's still there. The man's traveling the world. We need him back in his trading cage. Okay, so Dime, you've got the plan. Nothing you need to do right now, and you want to wait for this 50-day MA. We're looking for a nice big move there on that one. Then another one that could be running nicely, and we might be getting our entry. Look how this is tying in now with Celestia on a bullish pullback as well. So we've had a nice pop on Nitron. That's NTRN, and we've had a nice little pop here, and we are pushing lower. And look what we want to do. We've popped the 50-day moving average. We've had a nice big move, and now the real test is, are the bulls going to step in at a 382 bullish fib at these horizontals and the 50-day moving average? Look how it ties in so nicely with this current Celestia situation as well. So there could be a great mover coming here as well. Let's look at potential targets. Number one has to be the 200-day moving average. You can see higher up, it's trending higher in this region here at some horizontals too. So there's a target here of about 1 that could come into play. But first step, we want to hold that 50-day MA. So you might be getting an entry on this thing probably in the next few hours if we get a little bit more weakness here. And look out, we also have a rising trend in place. So if we start putting pressure on this region, look out for a little fake out, a little wick into that trend, and then we're looking for that little bounce. So don't get shaken out here. Watch that 50-day. If you have to dial in when they're settling here in the zone, if you have to dial in, get those 15-minute candles out. Look for the reactions in those areas. Tie it in with Bitcoin. Where is Bitcoin at the time when your token is falling onto bullish support? You want to make sure Bitcoin is sitting on bullish support. What is that? That might be 66K for this example on Bitcoin. It might be the 786 fib that it's sitting on now. So just make sure when you hit these zones, you know where your Bitcoin price is, and looking for some kind of tie in there. So that could be a nice little play for you guys as well. And then Injective, is it time? Is it time for an Injective move here? And we have seen, if you look at Banter Bubbles, we've seen a little bit of strength here on Injective. And today it's 3.8% up. And it is one of the better performers if we actually look at what is going on here. And here it is right now. So trying to break a 50-day moving average. It's not convincing yet, but it has done a little bit of something for us. And we've seen Injective run on Celestia strength previously as well. So what do we need to do? We need to look for some potential reaction zones, and look how this is playing out now. Similarly to a lot of these tokens, look at the target here. It's the 200-day moving average tied in with horizontals here as well at 31. So how would I play this? What am I looking for? So number one, you do have 618 support lower down. We mentioned earlier this week that I wanted to see the 618 tapped, and maybe we're going to get a little look at the 618 now with any more Bitcoin weakness. Number two, what do we have at play for us? We do have a break of the 50-day moving average right now. They've broken it today, so that is an interesting sign. It's not a convincing break, so we're looking for something a little bit cleaner. We want to see a little bit of a bigger push into the zone, and then that's going to give us confidence to look for longs on that pullback. If you want to sniff around on Injective, how can you do it? Well, number one, you can say, okay, we've broken the 50-day MA. You believe Bitcoin's going to bounce at the current level that it's sitting on. Then you're going to be looking for Injective. You can use the support now, 25.58. You can use that. That's a close under this 50-day moving average. You want to look for that to hold as potential support for you. If we do get further weakness, very simple game here on Injective. You're just going to bang out this little trend that's pushing down. Look at for a little trend there like that. And number one, the 618 for me, this is key. This is a big one that I want to see pinged. And, it did front run the 618. I'd love to see a little tap, just a little tap onto the 618, and that could give us a nice little move on Injective. So that's going to look something along these lines. Okay, look for a little dip into this region here. We've got a trend as well, and we've got that 618. So looking out for something like that. That is first prize for Injective. Second prize is Scalpers. If you want to play around here, you can see what's going on. We've broken the 50-day MA. Use that as support here if you want to have a go, if you want to play around. But don't be surprised if they push us lower into the 618. That could be a little play for you as well. That could be materializing. So I hope you guys are happy. You've been asking for this Injective for so long as well. And here we go. Who else is... Zara's looking at Injective link AVAX Matic, telling him to wake up. Well, believe it or not, I saw some action on Matic today. Matic started waking up a little bit too. Things were starting to move there, and I was saying, geez, maybe we're going to end up trading Matic again. I mean, this is a full move back to 2021 vibes. Are we going to see Matic trading at $3 again. We're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. But if it does start moving, we'll bring it back. We won't be too hard. We won't be too hard on Matic. Then I've got another one that could potentially run as well, tied in with Celestia and 𝗀𝗍𝗍, a bit of a dark horse. I see a lot of requests for this one often in the chat as well. And this is something that you can also be paying attention to. What is notable, though, it's quite far down below the 50-day and the 200-day moving average. Let's just look at Celestia and see what it did when it was under these regions. And you can see Celestia trended under this 50-day MA for a hell of a long time. But once it popped, we had a nice little explosion there, and here we go. So for me, there is time here on 𝗀𝗍𝗍. If you're trying to accumulate something here on 𝗀𝗍𝗍, you can nibble around. There's a couple of nice zones here for you right now. So there's the 618 where you could get some kind of bounce here in the immediate short term, and then a little bit lower here, we've got 0.9 that you can play around with as well. That's a massive horizontal support here for you guys. So that is a nice little area to accumulate a little bit of 𝗀𝗍𝗍. When do the fireworks start? When do we get a lot of action? Well, number one, you've got to wait for that 50-day moving average. You can see how this thing is playing out on so many tokens, little pops on this 50-day MA. So you're going to look for something along these lines. Let's bang a trend out here, and you've got time. As you can see, you've got a little bit of time. This will tie in very nicely with a push higher. What we're going to have, we're going to have the 50-day trending down. We're going to have a nice pop here of trend, and then you're going to look for that as support for your next big move there on 𝗀𝗍𝗍. So you can start nibbling around in this area. We could have a little bit of action here. And then once we start blowing those areas, then we know we get some big targets here for 𝗀𝗍𝗍. We're looking at much bigger things. So we've got a horizontal here at 1.5, 1.45. That's a nice little area as your first sort of zone where we should be attacking at some point. Okay. Ray, are we liked? Are we liked enough for the legend?
We're liked or not liked enough based on how many people are here. We got
Guys, hit the likes, hit the subscribe. I want to bring the legend on for you immediately. And while we're waiting, Ray, just give me a thumbs up when we're ready there. Let's take a look at our first meme coin update, 𝗃𝗃. Okay, we spoke about this one yesterday. I told you guys we're looking for buyers at these nice little support levels, and we got our first pumpage out of 𝗃𝗃. Look at that nice little move that they gave us. We got a 60% out of 𝗃𝗃 off this 0.056 region. Nice little bounce there for 𝗃𝗃. Now the real test. Is it going to hold this trend break? So it is looking a little bit more bullish now, and we've got a little trend break. So 𝗃𝗃 traders, if you are looking for some 𝗃𝗃 action, now you have a new support marker that you can use, and anything down to round about 0.07 now looks like a support region that you can play with for now. But remember, these meme coins, very simple game plan here. You buy them on weakness onto solid levels, and then they are so volatile, you can get massive moves. So you've just seen in a few days, we've had a 60% move on 𝗃𝗃 just off a big area. And I mean, this thing's round about, about a $70 million market cap at the moment. And this thing is still giving you 60% moves and those type of things. So remember, play it nicely. If it's nice and green, maybe you want to sit back and wait. When it drops into a nice heavy zone, I'm going to tell you those big zones, and then we can take advantage of some of these moves. So just keep watching key levels on these meme coins. It's the same game plan on pretty much all of them. Watch your big zones. Bruce is here. Welcome.
I guess Ray just put me on stage.
That apparently means we have the right amount of light.
Yeah. Hey, Dylan. Before we go into the charts, you talked about how my brain works, and that reminded me that we're always honest and transparent in our community, and especially with the people on YouTube here. And so I've got to be honest about something that's a little hard to talk about, which is that I've gone over to the dark side, Dylan, and it's all your fault.
Are you trading meme coins?
We brought in an analyst in the Sniper Club to do in-depth analysis on the market and on tokens, but also he launched a wonderful meme trading channel to talk about how to identify good memes and stuff. And then you asked me to chart for that show inside Sniper Club, and I got suckered in. I got my Punky, I got my Tramp, I got my 𝗃𝗃, I got my Conan, I got my Keycat. I'm toast.
What was that other one? Bird Dog. What was that one that you guys were talking about?
Oh yeah, it was I forget. Hold on. Yeah.
I heard one of them did a 5 or a 10x or something.
Cat on Beam. And there's a lot of them. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. but I got suckered
the
in.
meme coin action has officially hit Bruce now. I mean, Ray, we got to get Ray involved here. He's going to start trading these meme coins.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us what's going on out there. What are you seeing? Because I'm just seeing chop all over the place, and things are.
There's a lot of chop there, but the chop is producing setups, and if we're patient, I kind of believe if we're patient. Let me go into my two charts here. So like we were talking about Tau, right? We're talking about Tau dumping. So Tau took a pump, kind of settled into this region, and you're right, it's pulling back. But look where it's pulling back to, right? It's pulling back smack dab right to the 618, right? That's not bad, right? At a strong horizontal, level, right? You got clear, support there. Had a sweet, perfect push through, which I always look, and then it retested it. It's pulling right back to that level right here, kind of so somewhere between that trend line there and the support 618 right over here. We might end up with some pretty sweet trades. I would be patient to make sure that this doesn't turn into a much bigger sell-off, but kind of looks ready to go.
Okay, so no panic zone yet for
Tau. No.
Nothing to worry about. Unless you guys are tits up in leverage, like 30, 50, 40x, those type of things, it's horrific when you're watching these feed outs. If you're sitting in spot, it's quite chill. There's no panic here. Down to this region. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, right now seems with this kind of chop. I mean, the chop can go either way, right? It can go up, it can go down. But if you get small positions in that are low risk, that if you get stopped out and don't bug you, or we make you want to jump off a roof, it sets you up. So if it goes in the right direction, then you can start to build on that trade. But I sure wouldn't go in full positions right now. Just you never know.
Okay.
And I'm pretty cautious in general.
Okay, talk to me about AGIX, because I think we need to just watch some of these AI tokens.
Another one. It's just kind of in a sweet spot, right? We had a rejection right off the trend line over there. Really big push up on the macro because I pulled this fib all the way from the bottom over there, from the bottom of this basic move. We're sitting exactly at the 382, right? And you can see the 618 correlates to that level. So and the 236 correlates to that level. So this literally is consolidating right at a great level. What I like about trades like this is that, again, I would wait for the chop to settle down. But if you get in a trade like this, you have a very quick exit, right? Your exit strategy is really right below those wicks right over there. So you're talking about just shy of 2%. And the reason you get them quickly, like if it breaks, closes below that trend line, is that you get a big drop to there. Right, if it loses this level, it's likely coming down to 82 cents or so, that level, or as far down as the 618, which is that level. So you get out early, and then you wait, and then you pick it up down lower. So your risk reward is sweet. Keep it on that trend line, close below that trend line, just bomb out of it, and stop out of it, and then wait for the next one. So that's actually looking good too. Again, patience right now. I wouldn't jump in.
It's interesting what we're seeing here. We're seeing render hovering around horizontal support. Okay, looks like it could drop, it could pump. We don't know. We've seen Fetch doing the same thing. We've got AGIX. All these AI tokens are doing the same thing right now. So they're either all going to collapse together, or they're absolutely going to rip. So if you want to position yourself for something, these are clean invalidations. Remember, trading it's not about being right all the time. It's about being, when you're wrong, you don't get abused. When you're wrong, you manage your risk. And that's why we manage good areas, because we can't win every single trade that we take. We just need to understand where do we exit if we make a mistake. So true. In trading, you have to have a narrative. You have to have a bias. You have to have an opinion. That's why you're taking the trade. Okay. And your opinion isn't always right. So when you are wrong, how do you exit? Okay. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Okay.
It's so true. Like I've found that profitability in trading is not necessarily about what you win. It's what you don't lose.
Great.
Yeah. So cool.
Okay. Nice one, Bruce. I'm going to crack on with a couple of other tokens. Yeah, you guys, you're welcome to obviously hang around. I've got a couple of memes here.
More memes. I need them.
Okay, hang around. I'm going to show you some memeage right now. Let me pull back my chart here. Let's just get this thing going. Okay, here's another update on this little guy that I spoke about a couple of days ago. This was a long shot for me. This is Donald Trump in you, and I don't mean literally he's in you. It's I in you, Donald Trump in you. This was originally it was a rugged project, and this was bought back by the community, and it seems to be responding well to the current election narrative. So I brought this to you guys at just under 300k market cap. It's now sitting at about 955k market cap. So this thing is still tiny. Is there still a narrative? Is there energy in a narrative? Yes, I think there is a narrative in this presidential stuff, and this might be one of the movers that we could be looking at. So keep your eyes on this one. It has performed nicely. If you got this one, you are about 3x up here at the moment. Keep your eyes on it. Ideally, you want to look to buy weakness. You don't want to buy pumpage into these massive candles, but you know, the other Trump is sitting at $500 million market cap. We've got Biden at $200 million market cap. We've got things like that, and maybe there's going to be a couple of tokens that fit the narrative that are going to start popping out for you guys. So that is one of them that I'm watching.
Dylan, a question on that one. Is it Donald Trump INU?
Donald Trump INU, and it's on ETH, so it's not a Solana. It's not a Solana token.
That's Donald Trump's dog. Inu is the Japanese word for dog.
There you go. There we go. So it's not like he's literally in you.
That's TMI. Okay. No, thank you.
Then another one, Nancy Pelosi. Okay, this could be a nice narrative play as well, tied in with Tucker Carlson, tied in with the presidential stuff, and dropping onto a level here that you can pay attention to. So 0. What do we got here? Oh, my mouse has stopped working. 0.23. Okay, that is one of them, and it's an election narrative play. That is something that you can watch again. Ideally, you want to buy these things on weakness. Okay, and remember, when we're buying meme coins, some of them aren't going to work. Some of them are going to 3x, some of them are going to 10x, some of them are going to send you to 0. So just remember, manage your risk appropriately and do those things. But when you're buying these things, ideally, you want to buy on weakness, you want to buy in good areas. And just like we saw on Tucker as well, bouncing off a nice zone there. And sometimes you get a nice little move. You get a 20%, 40% move and things like that. It doesn't mean you have to sit in these things and hold them to the moon. But if you can get a 20, 30, 40% out of some of these, maybe it is worth a look. So keep your eyes on that one as well. And then an update on Floki. We are now moving into a potential entry zone here for Floki. So this was the plan that we were looking at. And we were saying the other day, there's two options here for Floki. It's pushing into resistance. You either want it to pop or you want it to pull back. And this is now the exact same situation we are seeing in Celestia. We're seeing it in a lot of these other tokens. We've rejected at a nice area. Now is the time for the bulls. They're going to step in. Are they going to come? And are we going to get some entries? So if you were looking for a Floki entry at the highs, if you were trying to buy the top of the Floki move, and you were sitting there saying, wow, I wish we had a pullback on Floki. Well, here's your opportunity. This is zone number 1, multiple zeros, 2-6. Okay, this is area number 1 that we are going to start pushing into on Floki as your first area of interest. This is a zone, a horizontal zone where you can start potentially getting some buys in. Now, there's going to be multiple plays here on Floki. If there's major weakness, we're obviously going to tackle lower levels. But right now, you know, this is now a nice potentially bullish pullback on Floki. We want to look for some good areas. How do we build this entry? Let's pull up some fibbage here, and let's just take a look what we can use and what we can use for some support. So number 1, if you look at this current move, your most bullish fib, not your most bullish, your second most bullish fib is the 382. And you can see we've got a nice tie in as well, a little bit lower down. But number 1, we've got our horizontal. So this is zone number 1 that's coming into play for you. So this could be entry number 1 that's ticking over right now. So you could look for something along these lines. Okay, if you're trading spot, this is an opportunity to buy on some good areas. So number 1, you could buy here. Number 2, you could push that lower, and you could start buying a little bit lower down as well. Remember, these meme coins are super volatile, but this could be a 2-entry gift here for you guys on Floki. So remember, there was a lot of pumpage recently, bullish pullback, nothing wrong with that. And right now, you can look for buys 0.00026 and a little bit lower down, multiple zeros, 234 is your next area, and that ties in so nicely with this bullish 382. So look out for that. And if this performs anything like the Pepe or the Pay, I still don't know how to say it. They rip me off all the time in the chats. I still can't get it right. Pepe. If that's going to play out, we're going to see Floki pushing our first target, and that's around about 42. And then we do have a target a little bit higher up. That's 120% odd from where we are sitting. So number 1, let's bag a nice entry here. And number 2, nothing wrong with a pullback, and look for some good solid zones here. So Floki, so far so good. Looking okay here for us. The next one, Whiff. Okay, this is another one And we spoke about this one yesterday. Sometimes we just need a little bit of patience here for some of our best entries. And you can see what's going on. They did send it a little bit higher. They did try and push WIF through that horizontal, but we're getting quite a hard rejection now. So is this potentially the start of a little move lower down for us here on WIF? Can we get a potential bullish entry here for this current move? If you think we're going to get a deeper move here, you're looking at about 3.43 right now. For me, if you're a scalper, you can start looking at this current level. You can see we are trying to hold this horizontal right now at 3.69. That could be your candle low support that you can play with, and this also shows us that we are still trying to hold this current 618. Okay, so we could nibble around this region. Yeah, let's see what happens here with WIF. Alternatively, you're looking for a push into 3.4, that sort of region. And this is the same setup that we gave you yesterday that we were looking for. So let's just tee that one up. It looks something along these lines. Okay, you're going to get about a 2 to 3% size stop loss here. When you lose that trend, then things start starting to turn a little bit more bearish. So you're looking for something along those lines. And remember, some of the best trades happen when we are feeling bearish, when they are falling over, when you're getting these red candles. Those are often your better entries than buying a pump a little bit higher up. So sometimes you need patience and a little bit of balls, okay, on a good area to enter a trade. Let's just take a look at Bitcoin quickly. And no changes here. So Bitcoin is still currently holding its 786. Okay, so we've had a little wick down. But again, it doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Okay, we still got, you can see we're reacting on the 786. This is why we call it a reaction zone. It's giving us just that. Okay, but lower down, we've got 66K. How do you manage that when Bitcoin is sitting at a level and your altcoins are melting down? Well, what you can do is you can pull out dominance. Let's just grab the dominance chart here quickly. And you want to just get a guide as to what dominance is doing. So if you're feeling your altcoins are getting bled out, you want to zoom into dominance, and then you look at it just like this. If you see dominance pumping and Bitcoin is relatively flat, this tells you a story. This tells you that your altcoins are going to be under a little bit of pressure on their areas. And then the minute we get the dominance reversal and it starts pushing back down, then you know your altcoins are going to start holding the current levels that they are dancing around. So look out for those type of moves. Bruce, thanks for hanging. That was fun having the legend. You can catch Bruce in the Sniper Club. And I've got one more thing for you guys. I almost forgot. GUMMY, you've got 1 day and 15 hours left, okay, to take advantage of the GUMMY airdrop. It's never happening again. They're dropping 15 million GUMMY onto Bybit for you guys. You've got 1 day, 15 hours left. This is your last chance. Go to the show link in the description and click on Bybit, sign up to that Bybit link, deposit 100, trade $500, and they're going to give you $100, and you're going to take part in the GUMMY airdrop as well. It's as simple as that. Whew, Bruce.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, brother. Thanks, everybody.
Catch Bruce in the Sniper Club. We're all in the Sniper Club as well. There's a link in the description there. All my charts that you see on this show, I put them in the Sniper Club for you. I update them daily. We also do live Zoom sessions. We take you through our planning, our thinking, all those things. We have a killer researcher in there. We've got a big gun. We've just launched a meme trading group as well for you guys. So lots of meme action coming, and it's all happening there. Lots going on. Guys, that was fun. Again, we'll see you tomorrow. Looking forward to it again. Catch you later.